Hi guys, happy Thursday. It is Thursday, April 2nd. We are on our fourth day of NTI of the second week, and today's lesson is about ledger lines. Ledger lines are extension lines to the staff. So these are lines that we add above or below the staff to make extra range, to let us do higher or lower notes. So let's draw out our staff real quick. We got 5 lines. And we'll talk about ledger lines on both the bass and treble clef. So for the treble clef, we've got 5 lines. Sorry, they're not super even. Our treble clef get drawn here. Oh, that's terrible. And so we know that our notes on the treble clef usually are E, G, B, D, and F. And our spaces are F, A, C, and E. Now, if you notice, every time you go up the staff, it goes up in alphabetical order. And if you go down, it goes backwards in alphabetical order, line, space, E, F, G. Remember, when we get to G, we reset back to A, B, C, D, E, F. So, if we go to the space just above the staff, and we're going up, so we're in A, B, C order, F, this would be G. Now, at this point, we've run out of places to put notes, and we add a ledger line. So then, one ledger line above. We just draw a little line, and the note goes on it. On that line, we go line, space, line, space. So here's a space. Next up would be a line. That would be A. And if we keep going up, this right here would be just above that space right above that first line would be B. And let's see if I can adjust this to make this a little easier to read. Yeah, that's better. So G right above the staff, then A on that line, B, that space above that line, and then we can add a second line and go up to a high C. And then above that that space right up there will be a D, because again, as we go up, we go in alphabetical order, line, space, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So this D right here is about as high as any of you will ever see on the treble clef, unless we get into super advanced music. Piano music will go higher than that sometimes. But this D right here, that is palm D on the saxophone. This would cross into the altissimo register on the clarinet. On clarinet, that high C is just thumb and register key. Trumpet, this is kind of the top of the range for trumpet as well, that high C. Flute, of course, will go a little higher than this. But at that point, once we start getting up there, flutes, you'll be very familiar with that range. Much else above this, we do a little symbol, or we'll write 8VA. 8VA just means take it up an octave. So for flute and saxophone and clarinet, a lot of the time you might see stuff written down here in this comfortable range where you're super comfortable reading, but it says 8VA, meaning take this up an octave, but we wrote it where you're familiar. Now, if we're going to go down, we go in backwards alphabetical order. So, remember when we get to A, though, we reset back to G, F, E. So naturally, this space right here, we talked about this one already, would be D just below it. And then if we add a ledger line down, now this is a note my trumpets and clarinets are especially familiar with, would be C right here. If we keep going down, just below that would be B. At this point, we add a second ledger line. And that right there would be A. If we keep going, there's a space below that. Now remember, we're going in backwards alphabetical order. So D, C, B, A. When we get to A, we reset back to G because our musical alphabet only has so many letters. Just below that would be G. And there's only 2 more notes below that we ever really see. Trumpets, this is kind of the bottom of your range. This is 1 and 3 on the trumpets. Saxophones, you all bottom out at B unless you have a bari sax with the A attachment. That would put you at A. And then clarinets, we can add a couple more fingers to this. We have low F and low E. That's 3 ledger lines below. So clarinets, if G, that low G, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's our low G. If we add 1 pinky key, that's F. Below that, And then if we keep going, below that would be E, and that's the lowest note you can play. That's also if you add register key, that's your crossover to the B natural. The way I remember it is the 3 lines make an E, and E is just below it. That's how I've remembered low E. So that's the ledger lines in the treble clef, and give me just a second to reset, and I'll get you back with the bass clef ledger line notes. All right, I'm back with ledger line notes on the bass clef. So, ledger lines in bass clef. Now, for ledger lines in the bass clef, it follows the same principle, just we have different lines and spaces to start with, so our ledger line notes are a little different. So, draw my bass clef staff. Now, if you remember, the bass clef is also called the F clef because this little doodad here and these 2 dots show you where F is. Now, our lines on the bass clef are normally good burritos, don't fall, that's our F line, apart. And then the spaces always carry extra guacamole. Again, we follow that same pattern of up, you go up in alphabetical order, down, you go backwards alphabetical order, line, space, line, space. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, resets back to A. So, right above A, in this space right here, that would be B. And then if we add a ledger line, that takes us up to C. This is also known as middle C if we're thinking about the grand staff. Now, trombones, baritones, this is your regular high B flat. This C, 3rd position on trombone, 1st valve on baritone. If we keep going up above that, we're going up in alphabetical order. This would be D. And then I'm going to have to draw over here because I ran out of room. 2 ledger lines up. Up after D would be E. And then if we go one more space up, that puts us up to F. Now, if we're going down below, this is where we get into the comfortable tuba range. My trombones and baritones, your low B flat is here. For my tubas, they start reading below the staff, and this B is their high B flat. So, for tuba, and just anybody reading below the staff, we go in backwards alphabetical order, then G. Just below that, that's space. That's F. If we add a ledger line to that, that puts us at E. Wow, these are starting to look like eggs, not notes. Below that line, G, F, E, D. Below that, 2 ledger lines, we get C. And now here is the money note for my tuba players, which is low B flat for them, or low B. Oops, that landed in the trash can. This is obviously going very well. There's low B. Get my marker out of the trash can real quick. Below that, we get 3 lines down, low A. And if we go down to the space below that, you go down to low G. Trombone and baritone, the lowest you'll probably ever see is maybe here, down to that E. If you play bass trombone, you will get notes that are lower, all the way down to here. And tuba can even go down to the 4th line down. And if we go down 4 lines, that puts them at low F. But really, you won't see much lower than this unless you're playing on a piano. And again, like 8VA for up an octave, you will sometimes see 8VB. B standing for basso, or take it down an octave. And again, we try to write music that's in a comfortable viewing range, so you're comfortable with the notes and you can sight read even. But we'll say like, oh, here's notes that you know, just take them down an octave. And that is ledger lines. If you have any questions or concerns or trouble with this, just let me know. Call, email, text, remind, any way you need to get in touch with me, ask questions. I'm here for you, and see you back later this week and next week.